Battlefield 6 is coming by the end of 2025. In today's video, I'll be playing the last 5 titles, starting from Battlefield 3 and going all the way to Battlefield 2042, to highlight features from each one that I hope to see in Battlefield 6. We'll dive into what made these games great and what elements I wish to return. Let's begin. I think it's safe to say that in the last 2 titles, DICE's live service model didn't really work. Back in the Battlefield 3 era, DICE released the game with 9 maps. By September 2012, we had 21 maps from DLC expansion packs like Back to Karkand and Close Quarters. New guns and vehicles were also added with expansion packs like Armor Kill, Aftermath and Endgame. Yes, the DLC cost around €50, but the content we got made this title one of, if not the best, Battlefield games of its time. Many players reminisce about the days when we had substantial content drops that truly expanded the game. The additional maps, weapons and game modes kept the games fresh and engaging for a long time. I think DICE will not go back to this strategy as it can generate a large income from small DLCs like cosmetics and skins. However, I think I'm speaking for the majority of players when I say that we do not mind paying an additional fee to have more content to play. Not to mention that Premium in BF3 also gave us new game modes like Capture the Flag, a new knife, new soldier and gun camos, and much more. It felt like a true expansion, not just small additions. After DICE's failed attempt to give us a modern, semi-futuristic and gritty setting with Battlefield 2042, I hope that Battlefield 6 can move into a more present-day, modern setting, with NATO and countries like Russia and China fighting for domination over regions like Ukraine, Finland, Taiwan and the Middle East. Battlefield 6 could be incredible, atmospheric and lifelike. Imagine the potential scenarios and the intensity of battles set in these real-world locations. No more drone dogs and fake guns, instead give players what they really want, a modern confrontation between 2 superpowers. Guns like the AK-12, M4A1, Swedish AK-5 and G36, as well as guns from previous titles like the JNG-90 and the M40A5 will give Battlefield 6 a variety like no other game. It's time to ditch the futuristic and fake guns and vehicles and focus more on the authenticity and realistic immersion that made Battlefield 4 fans love the series. Tanks and planes also need to be modern, with aircraft like F-35, Su-57, Yas-30 Gripen, F-16 and the Rafale. Moreover, we need to bring back naval combat. It's a shame that games like Battlefield 1 set in World War I have more naval combat than the modern Battlefield 2042. Tanks also need to be more realistic. NATO tanks like M1 Abrams, Leopard 2 and the French Leclerc could provide variety in the game when going against the Type 99 NPT and the T-90. Battlefield is a sandbox, and we need to be able to fight on land, air and sea. One of the standout features of Battlefield 1 was its incredible atmosphere and the diverse faction it included. The game captured the gritty, intense and often chaotic feel of World War I. The varied factions and attention to historical detail made the game immersive and engaging. For Battlefield 6, bringing back this level of atmospheric detail and faction variety would be a significant enhancement, making battles feel more authentic and varied. Battlefield 1 excelled in creating a realistic and immersive atmosphere by paying attention to the smaller details, such as weather effects, the sound design of gunfire, and the visual aesthetic of battlefields torn apart by war. The game also included diverse factions like the British Empire, German Empire, Ottoman Empire, and more, each with unique uniforms, weapons, and equipment. I personally don't mind operators as long as they're tied to the correct faction. For instance, if Battlefield 6 is NATO versus Russia and China, I prefer to have a Chinese soldier with, let's say, a grappling hook and a stim, but it must also have the exact same operator for the NATO faction. This variety contributed to the game's historical authenticity and replay value. For Battlefield 6, achieving a similar level of atmospheric depth and faction diversity would enhance the game's immersive experience, making each battle feel unique and grounded in reality. Battlefield 5 introduced a more fluid and dynamic movement system, which added a new level of realism and agility to the gameplay. This included features like diving to the ground to avoid gunfire, sliding into cover, rolling when falling from a higher altitude, and laying onto the soldier's back. Players could also run when crouched, which allowed for stealthier movement. This system was designed to give players a greater sense of control and responsiveness, making it easier to navigate the complex and often chaotic battlefield environments. One of the most appreciated aspects of this movement system was how it enhanced the tactical depth of the game. For example, the rolling mechanic introduced when falling from heights reduced fall damage and kept players in the fight, adding a realistic touch to vertical gameplay. Running while crouched not only helped with stealth, but also allowed players to stay low and minimize the profile, making them harder to hit. Transitions between different stances were smooth and realistic, allowing players to adapt their posture to the situation seamlessly. This made firefights more dynamic and required players to be constantly aware of their positioning and movement options. Bringing this advanced movement system into Battlefield 6 will ensure that the gameplay feels responsive and engaging. It will provide players with the tools they need to effectively maneuver in combat, enhancing both the tactical depth and the overall enjoyment of the game. By incorporating these mechanics, Battlefield 6 could offer a more immersive and fluid combat experience, making every encounter feel more intense and realistic. One of the best features of Battlefield 2042 was the Portal mode, which allowed players to create and share custom game modes using assets from various Battlefield games. This feature provided endless replayability and creativity within the community. The Portal mode in BF 2042 was a game changer, enabling players to mix and match elements from different eras of Battlefield. This included maps, weapons, vehicles, and factions from various titles, allowing for a highly customizable and nostalgic experience. Players could create unique game modes and share them with the community, fostering creativity and community engagement. For BF6, DICE not only needs to bring this back, but expand it as much as possible by adding games like Battlefield Vietnam, Battlefield 2142, and more. This will ensure that Battlefield 6 will have variety and longevity over its predecessor. The Plus system, on the other hand, allowed players to modify their weapons in real time during matches. This meant players could adapt their loadouts to suit different combat situations without needing to respawn or return to a loadout screen. Features like changing scopes, barrels, and underbarrel attachments on the fly provided a tactical edge and enhanced gameplay flexibility. Integrating these features into Battlefield 6 would offer players more control, customization, and longevity in their gaming experience. But I want to hear your thoughts. Tell me down in the comments, what do you think? Do you agree with all these features, or is there something else you're hoping to see in BF6? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help this channel grow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.